crime, kidnapping, murder, gangs. J. Edgar Hoover, director of the FBI. The man who organized and directs the fight of the U.S. government against rackets, gangsters, and spies. J. Edgar Hoover was born in 1895. He worked his way through law school and later became special assistant to the U.S. Attorney General. In 1921, the Attorney General was dissatisfied with the work of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Something's got to be done about the FBI. You need energetic young men there. Well, Hoover, you're young and energetic. How would you like to be assistant director of the Bureau? I'd like to try it. 3 years later, the president asked Attorney General Stone to clean up the FBI and find a good man to reorganize it and direct it. Stone again called on J. Edgar Hoover. But, Hoover, I want you to head up the FBI. No, thank you. Why not? I've found there's too much political interference. No one can do everything well enough without a completely free hand. At the Attorney General's office. You have my word for it. No more politics here. Then, sir, I'll be glad to take the job. When the political appointees in the Bureau heard that Hoover was the new director, Boy Scout, he won't last 6 months. We'll fix him. But Hoover's first act as director proved they were wrong. Gentlemen, I want your resignations at once. What? But I'll see my congressman about this. He selected his agents on merit and trained them in crime detection. You must learn to read fingerprints, to use a micro camera, to observe the smallest details, and above all, to use common sense. He established a crime detection laboratory in a storeroom. It's a small beginning, but before we're through, we'll have the finest crime detection laboratory in the world. His fingerprint files were very small when he started. We haven't got these fingerprints here. I'll have to send a copy of them to prisons and police all over the country. We've got to make this a clearinghouse for all fingerprints. In a few years, all law enforcement agencies knew where to turn for help with fingerprints. We haven't got these fingerprints in our files. Send it to Hoover. He'll have them, if anybody has. Child kidnapped. Hijackers escape. Hold up. Tribune. Gang murder. Press. Bank robbed. Examiner. Racketeers to be hunted. Star Express. Gunmen at large. Daily Citizen. Payroll. Bandits. Before Hoover had completed building up the FBI, organized crime became a serious national problem. Local authorities were almost powerless against interstate gangs. They've got over the state line. We can't follow them. We're safe now. The new Attorney General called Hoover in to discuss the national crime problem. What can we do about it? I think my men could handle it, if Congress would give us the power. What powers do you need? First, the power to make arrests. Second, the right to carry firearms. Third, the right to enter any case where the criminal crosses a state line. The Attorney General went to a congressional committee. To break up these interstate gangs of criminals, we must give the FBI more power. Local authorities would not like that. The committee turned us down, but get your men ready, because I'm going to get the power you want someday. The men will be ready. He began to train his agents for work against dangerous criminals. You have to learn to shoot straight and fast. Every agent must be expert at jiu-jitsu. If we get a chance at these gangsters, we must be able to fight them with their own weapons. And then, a crime was committed that roused the whole country.
What can you do about the Lindbergh kidnapping?
Nothing. We haven't any power. Congress was deeply stirred over the crime. Mr. Hoover, we've got to stop this crime wave. What can Congress do? You can give the FBI the powers outlined here. Congress gave Hoover all he asked for. Men, we have the power now to stamp out organized interstate crime. And we'll do it, sir. With the new powers granted to the FBI in 1933, Hoover and his men began a thorough job of combating racketeers, gangs, and organized criminals. The following are only a few of the crooks they put out of business, but they are typical stories of G-Men successes. Catching the Barker Gang. E.G. Bremer of St. Paul, Minnesota, was kidnapped and held for $200,000 ransom. His family paid it, and he was released. Get Bremer's story and go to work.
Okay, Chief.
Hoover's agents questioned Bremer. They kept me blindfolded and bound all the time. I never saw any of them. Didn't they stop anywhere for gas? No, they carried their own gas in cans and stopped once to fill the tanks. How long was it before they let you out? With this slender clue, the G-Men scoured the country around the place Bremer was released until they found 4 cans that might have been used by the kidnappers. It's been used for gas. We'll take them to the laboratory to find fingerprints. Back in the crime detection laboratory, find anything? There's 1 fingerprint on 1 can. In the huge fingerprint files Hoover had gathered, they found a clue. This corresponds to Arthur Barker's print. Oh yes, one of the Barker gang. There are 3 brothers and their mother. We'll get them. A year later, they found Arthur Barker, known as Doc, in a Chicago hotel. Well, Doc, I guess we've got you. You got nothing on me. Where are your mother and your 2 brothers? I ain't talking. Lock him up. I've got a clue here. The clue, a marked map. Ocala, Florida. Charter a plane. Take 12 men. Fly to Ocala at once. We ought to get there before Ma Barker can give us a slip. If that's where she is, we'll get her and her old gang. Know anything about a woman and 3 sons living around here? Probably in the country. Well, there's a woman got a big house over on Lake Weir. Don't know much about her, but men come and go from the place. They watched the house and made sure it was the hideout they were looking for. That is one of the Barker boys going into the house. Okay, we'll surround the house. All right, Barker gang, come out and we won't open fire. G-Men, come and get us if you can. The Barker gang opened fire. The G-Men fired back. For an hour, it was a battle. They fought till the whole gang was killed. We found Ma Barker with a machine gun still in her hands. The house was a regular arsenal. Good. That's the end of the Barker gang. Getting the Dillinger gang. Dillinger, leader of a gang of bank robbers, was caught and brought to a county jail in Indiana. What do you think you're doing, Dillinger? Making a gun to spring us out of here. Using the wooden pistol, they held up the guard and got the jail keys. I got the keys. All right, let's go. They took 2 Tommy guns from the jailer's office and locked all the officials in the jail. Don't make a sound or I'll shoot. Dillinger's loose again.
Got out with a wooden gun. Got away in the sheriff's car.
We'll take over now. This is a job for my men. But look, we've got to have a story for the papers. People want to know about Dillinger. He's news. I want you reporters to help me. Don't play up these criminals like heroes. They're cowardly rats, enemies of society, and Dillinger is public enemy number one. For a month, Dillinger was at large. One day, he and his gang stopped at a roadhouse and took over the place. Get in there, you. Now we can get something to eat. The proprietor of the place was locked in the closet, but if someone will only pick up this package of cigarettes outside the window.
I picked up a package of cigarettes, and on it was a note to tell you that Dillinger is at a roadhouse called Little Bohemia, near Rhinelander, Wisconsin.
The G-Man will be there soon. Thanks. In the fight that followed, Dillinger and his pal, Babyface Nelson, both got away. G-Man, beat it! 3 months later, Hoover received a telephone call. A woman was speaking.
Dillinger is going to the movies tonight. He'll be with a woman dressed in red. It's the Biography Theater in Chicago.
All right, thank you. All was made ready for Mr. Dillinger that night. The signal will be when I drop my hand. That means he's coming out. When he came out, they sprang the trap. He reached for his gun, but the G-Men beat him to it. And that was the end of public enemy number one. Besides preventing crime, the FBI has a big job to do in the present defense efforts of the USA. It must prevent arson and sabotage. Catch spies. These are the plans the Führer wants. Check the history of vital defense workers. Protect defense plans. Check every accident for evidence of anti-American activities. G-Man, number one. We know J. Edgar Hoover was no saint. However, the FBI in his day was far, far less corrupt than it is in our own. Can the FBI be reformed? Only with determination and the will to rebuild it from the ground up.